G'day everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Aussie Lawn. Today we're going to do a renovation update. So it's been a couple of weeks now. Let's have a look at what's been happening here. A few little dramas that we touched on the other week about excess rain and some minor setbacks if you want. So this morning I've just been shoveling some more top dress into the box trailer there. Going to have to go over some of the front lawn again. I think I'll be right with the green. I don't think I'll have to do too much top dressing to it, but we'll have a look at those two in a minute. But actually, first of all, let's have a little close look at this soil here. There's been a few questions asking what I use and that sort of thing, and there seems to be a little bit of, would I call it confusion? A few of the landscape supply mobs are starting to call their mixes 80-20 and 70-30 and all that sort of stuff, and it's probably not the sort of 70-30 and 80-20 that you ideally are chasing for top dressing turf. So we'll have a little look up close to that stuff behind me there that I use. Then we're going to hop in the car. We're going to go around to the buffalo lawn the neglected buffalo lawn that was shaved down, renovated, shaved down and rejuvenated. There's a couple little broadleaves popping through which we knew would be the case, so we're going to treat those, have a look at how it's recovering. I think you'll be surprised at that. And yeah, righto, let's go. Okay, so this is my top dress mix here, and it's probably the easiest way to identify this because obviously it's going to be a little bit hard to see on your screen at home exactly what it is, but think of it as dirty beach sand. What this essentially is, this is mined, if you will, out of a river. So, and it's measured by its darkness, I guess. So there's a sand component. This has a few little stones in it, but that's just what you get in the bush. So what we've got here, so the 70-30, the 80-20, the 90-10 even, basically what that means is, well, I reckon this is probably closer to a 70-30 mix. So that's 70% river sand and 30% clay silt material. So there's no recycled garden stuff, there's no garden mix in it, there's nothing like that. It's just basically dirty beach sand, and that's probably the best way to describe it. But it comes out of a freshwater river. If you're lucky enough to live in Sydney, you've got a lot of great places down there that specialise in golf courses and bowling greens. I remember from my tech days, Menangle Sand and Soil. I think Benedict's is another one. There's a few in Sydney, but a lot of, I guess, landscape mobs now, people are ringing up saying I want 70-30 or 80-20, and they're like, oh, okay, righto, we'll get some sand and we'll mix it in with some garden mix and call it, 80-20. Well, I suppose it is kind of true. It's probably 80% this and 20% that. It's just not the right stuff. Ideally, for a very short cut application, it's all right if you can get nothing else. That's the way it goes. But this is the true sort of concept here. So hopefully that cleans it up a little bit for you guys, and you can understand when people talk about 70-30 and 80-20. So obviously 80-20 would be 80% sand and 20% clay silt material. So yeah, anyway, something to think about, and now you know. Righto, so just a little quick update on our TifDwarf project, and it's really starting now to settle in and actually starting in places to send out runners. So there's one there, there's a couple there. Ooh. And there. So really great results so far. I'm really impressed with that. We've had 100% success with all of the plugs. There's one just there that's probably a little bit behind the rest, but it's still got plenty of action there. So I reckon this will be covered over pretty soon. So yeah, once it sort of settles in and finds its feet, she'll rally on really well. If you're wondering why the putting green is now, I guess, showing less green than it did in the other episode. Okay, here's what's been happening. So the other day after I filmed that other episode, I set the mower down to 7 mils, cut over it, and I used the Toro for that. And it collected quite a bit of sand, and I went, yeah, right, that's just lovely, that is. So the next day I went over it again, 5 mil, and took a lot more sand. Now, just, I guess, to throw in there, I would strongly advise against going into a lawn renovation having a freshly sharpened cylinder mower. I try to enter a renovation with a really dull cylinder mower, one that's ready to be ground or backlapped or sharpened or whatever you want to call it. So when you start mowing stuff like this and it's going to pick up sand, it will absolutely take the edge off your mower in no time at all. It's not a big deal. I've got my mower booked in at the end of the month to get a grind and sharpen, and hopefully by then there'll be no sand left, so when I get it back from the grinders, I'm just mowing grass with it and I'll get a nice full season of nice sharp blades. Happy days. So I wasn't too upset about mowing up a bit of sand with that mower. So finally the next day after that, so 3 days and 3 mows, I went down to 3 millimeters, and that's the result of what you see there. So from here on in, I'm going to lift it up again. I'll lift it up to 3.5 or something like that, then see how that goes, and then I might just settle for now on 4 millimeters. But it'll cover over quick. As I said, there was a little bit of damage or setback from the rain, but that's just the way it goes. Unfortunately, we got a lot of rain in a very short space of time, which sort of brought me unstuck a little tiny bit. So this section here in the surround of the apron, or whatever you want to call it, probably suffered the most amount of setback. Now you can see areas of thick sand in the back there, and obviously just here to the left I pushed a bit of excess sand off the green into this corner. Through here it's all really unlevel, and I had it all smoothed right out and leveled right out with varying depths of sand to create a level rather than actually top dress the surface. When we got the heavy rain, the water channels through here and took most of the sand with it. Now the reason it's so unlevel is because I've had all this area filled up with black soil because it was much steeper. It stepped right away, and this was where my original patch of TifDwarf was that's pushed back through. So brought the black soil in, got it dumped there, and sort of leveled it out a little bit, but didn't get too carried away. So through here, there's a low spot sort of through there, which needs to be refilled up with sand again. That's another little job for later on today. But yeah, so washing out, a bit of wash out through here. So again, not too bad, just not ideal. Finally around to the front lawn now, and this is probably the area that I've suffered the most amount of setbacks with. Now I've mowed this twice, so I did it again. I just sacrificed the one mower, so I mowed this the 2 times with the Greensmaster, the Toro. First time at 7 mil, second time at 5, and I sort of chickened out running over at 3. There's just too many areas of sand. It's just going to punish that mower, and it makes, I don't know how to describe it. It's the worst feeling ever. It's total mower neglect and abuse to mow through stuff like that. And the only consolation is I'm having a new bed knife and getting the reel ground that is actually giving me the courage to want to go ahead and do it. So gonna have to put some more top dress down here, because what's happened, the sand's washed down, and the term I use is like when you get a gully raker, so it creates ruts. So the sand washes in areas and deposits in others, and I'll show you up close here now. What it does is, of course, it creates a really uneven ground. So my front lawn at the moment at short heights of cut with a cylinder mower is probably the most unlevel it's been since it was laid. So that's kind of disappointing. So a little setback there, more top dress to go down, but again, it's repairable. It's not a big deal. I'm not stressed about it. It's just an inconvenience. Stopped me from doing other jobs that I could spend my time doing. So look, unfortunately, it's probably not really showing on camera too clearly what I'm talking about. So you probably think I'm being a little bit pedantic, but yeah, no, look, it's one of those things that you can't always purvey on camera. So we'll go around now. We'll have a look at this little update on the buffalo lawn. A lot of people have been asking about that. So as you can see, a huge improvement, absolutely huge improvement on this lawn over the last several weeks. It's probably have to be pushing over a month by now, I'd say. Still, obviously, a few little broadleaves going to pop up. We knew that would always happen. We've got a lot of open ground, and then all of a sudden, you get area, you get light, you get water. We had a lot of rain, so you're going to get germination. So we're going to spray out the broadleaf today. But I just thought I'd just take you up close and show you a few things that we're trying to achieve. Obviously this lawn's not perfect, so this lawn does have some cooch in it, it does have some kikuyu It was always there, it'll always be there. That's one of the problems with buffalo lawns. Once you get something else in it, it's near impossible really to eradicate anything else but the buffalo. So look, the owners of this place are quite content just to have a green lawn, and as I said, predominantly buffalo with some patches of couch and kikuyu. Okay, so this is a good example here of what we're trying to achieve, and I've mowed this a couple of days ago. It was actually its first mow, and I've set the mow at about 70, I think it was 70 mils, so fairly high. Now, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to encourage the grass to grow upright like I've got mine at home. I'm trying to make it go upright rather than making it run out across the ground, because that is going to give us our nice, thick, lush lawn without that thatchiness underneath. Well, that's the plan anyway. As I said, I've had success with the Sapphire variety, so this is going to be the first time I've trialled this method on Sir Walter, but hopefully I can replicate it there, and we'll have a nice upright lawn that isn't inclined to send runners on top of each other. So that's the mission, to get the whole lawn along those lines. So we've got a fair patch of couch through here, but I'm still confident that once the buffalo gets up in height a little bit, it'll mask a bit of that. It's not going to smother it out, it's not going to take care of it, but it should blend it in and shouldn't be such a... Well, you shouldn't notice it a great deal with a bit of luck. You're probably going to notice more of this kikuyu over here. I have to work in with it and learn to live with it, because buffalo is really restrictive as to what you can selectively spray out of it. And again, on the front footpath here, little patch of kikuyu in amongst a nice upright patch of our Sir Walter. Still got little bare areas, but we knew that would be the case, so we could either put some runners in there or just let them grow across. And I don't think it'll take too long, and they'll start running in there anyway. Look, there's going to be some buffalo that takes over and does its thing there. So weeds we've got today, we've got a little bit of pigweed, or purslane I think some people call it. So a little bit of pigweed there that we'll control with the selective herbicide, and a few broadleaves. Milk thistles, and there's a couple of little dandelions and stuff like that. Okay, remember, that's about all I got for you this week. I'll wrap the video up here. I'm about to go, and I'm still contemplating if I'm going to run over that front lawn at the 3 mils with that Toro of mine. I might just have a little look and see how that goes. I've still got to top dress it. So they're my jobs for today. Anyway, guys, have a great night, have a great weekend. Wherever you're watching from, take it easy. We'll see you next time here on the Aussie Lawn.